Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Just gonna wait for you guys to tune in. Happy Monday. I'm just gonna wait for you guys to trickle on in. How's everyone doing? Good morning, Pinder Pal 70. Good morning. Tululope 506. Good morning, Tiffany Jones. Good morning. Gillibat. Good morning, Hobson. Good morning. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Real Angel, hello. I am Abby's. Good morning. Official Ben. I tried to reach out. Um, what happened when you tried to reach out? Were you able to get in touch with us? Our emails were down. Our server was down over the weekend, so I don't know if you sent an email or something. But good morning, everyone. All right. Someone is saying they can't hear me. Can the rest of you guys hear me? Hi, Chinedu. Good morning. My husband is here and live and watching me, so it's making me blush. Hello. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Um, you know, um, but my name is Aisha Chidole, and I'm an immigration lawyer here in the United States. I'm primarily located in Atlanta, but I represent clients all over the United States. We handle basically all affirmative immigration cases with USCIS, family-based immigration, humanitarian-based cases. So like VAWA cases, trafficking cases, which is also known as T visas, U visas, which is victims of a serious crime, fiancé visas, and all of that good stuff, appeals and everything else. And so if you'd like to schedule a consultation with us, call us 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. You can also call our other line, which is 678-325-1037. Chineder, since you're online, can you please put in our phone number here? And if you're not able to pin it, let me know. Let me see if I would be able to pin it. Maybe I can add a moderator. How do I add a moderator to the live video so you can one second, guys. I'm trying to see how I can pin this. Um, see how I can pin this. And I'm going to get to your question about the ban in a second. Just give me a second, guys. I'm going to try to put our phone number here real quick. Number is 407. Okay, so let me pin this. Pin. Okay, so someone is asking, saying that they had an interview scheduled. I'm assuming you're part of the ban list. I literally have to carry this ban list with me everywhere because there's no way I can remember all the countries. Where's my list of countries? Give me a second, guys. Let me find my list of countries. So we're seeing a mixed bag. And I will have more updates for you guys by next week. What do I mean by seeing a mixed bag? Okay, let me correct myself. There's ban and there's adjudicative hold. We have a client who's scheduled for an interview on Wednesday, who is Nigerian. We've had a client who was scheduled for an interview who was Haitian, and that was a country that had a full ban. Their interview was canceled. This client from Nigeria, we contacted USCIS, waited on the call for like an hour, and they told us they weren't canceling the interview, that they should still attend the interview. That said, even if you attend the interview, they cannot make a decision until the adjudicative hold is lifted. Right now, there is nothing that's going to be lifted before April 1st. April 1st, I say April 1st because they said they're going to use the next 90 days to decide how they want to adjudicate these cases. So my assumption is that sometime in April, they are going to give us more information of how they plan to process these cases. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I come back on here and let you guys know if that particular client who's from Nigeria, because Nigeria has a partial ban. Because what I'm trying to see is if the adjudicative hold, how they're treating it for people with partial bans or people with full bans. So that person from Nigeria, the couple, their interview is coming up. I will let you know if they go to their interview or if they cancel it. In large part, though, I am hearing from other colleagues also that the interviews are being canceled because they can't make a decision at the interview. But again, they told us they're not canceling this interview, that we should attend this interview. So I will let you guys know if the interview holds. But again, even if the interview holds, we already know that they can't make a decision. Someone is asking what interview. It's a marriage-based interview for a couple that are Nigerian and American. Okay. 480. This person is asking if your interview was canceled. There's nothing for you to go. There's nobody that's going to interview you if your interview is canceled. So I wouldn't go. Are you the sole attorney within your law firm? No, I'm not the sole attorney within my law firm. We have a few other attorneys that work at our firm, and so you may come across any of them. I think there are about 6 others other than myself. So, yes. All right, let me answer some of the questions. I mailed my VAWA last June and still have not received a receipt notice. So June, so that puts you out about, we're in January, 7-8 months. At this time, even though we have delays in the cases, at this time, if a status inquiry has already been done and it's not yielded anything, I would say this is a good time to refile and file with the new processing addresses. And then that way, if you end up getting receipted for the one that you filed before, then you can just withdraw that application so that you don't have the duplicate applications pending, right? So that's what I would do. But before you do that, one, you want to make sure that you have proof that your file was received. Just take note that keep in mind that when you file something with the post office, it only shows for 4 months. After 4 months, it won't show anymore. So hopefully you saved your delivery to show that it was delivered or something like that. Because after that, if you try to put in your tracking number online on USPS, after 4 months, it won't show anymore. So that's number one. Number two, you want to reach out to USCIS to see if they have your file. If they don't have your file, you definitely want to refile, and then hopefully you get your receipt quicker since you're doing it with one of these other processing centers. I'm so distracted by my gray hairs this morning. I just realized I have really started getting gray hairs this year. This year 2025, it's been an incredibly stressful year for me, of course, with immigration, personally, everything, it's just so much going on, but that's crazy. All right, let me not get sidetracked. Consultation fee, our consultation fee is $150. As a Canadian citizen born in Nigeria, still affected by the proclamation, if you have dual citizenship, as long as you're applying with the other country that's not banned, you're exempt as the proclamation states. When I say exempt, you're not exempt with your Nigerian passport, meaning you can use your Canadian passport to apply. I mean, they may still take your country of origin into how they review it. I can't say for certain, but you're not exempt from applying, or you're not going to be placed on a hold as a Canadian because you're a Canadian, even though your ethnicity is Nigerian. Okay. If someone has their conditional green card that expires in February, but also filed the I-751 and was granted a 48, I guess you don't mean hour, you mean 48 months extension, can they travel out of the country? Well, I can't answer for someone unless I know that person's immigration history. The people that have 751s pending that should not be going out of the country are anyone with a criminal record. Depending on the 751 you filed, did you file a joint filing and now you and your spouse are separated? If those two apply, I would not go anywhere unless your file was amended, and they have the exact type of filing that you filed. Because, with the criminal one, you could be placed in detention. With the one where maybe you were married and then you're separated, but you've not corrected with USCIS, you can be really harassed in secondary inspection, So those would be the categories of people that I would say you should just hold off on international travels right now. I don't know your personal situation though, so. Does a fiance K1 visa still work or is it banned? The answer to your question is dependent on what country. If you're not from one of the 39 countries that are facing a partial or a full ban, you can still apply for a fiance visa. If you are from the countries, you can still apply for the I-129F, which has the adjudicative hold, but at least get receipted. And once the adjudicative hold is lifted, you can then get, an approval and wait until they lift the ban for the consulate process. And I've just kind of been looking since this rule started in January 1st to see what parts of the application they're processing, and then like today we got like some prima facies for after that date for clients from some of those countries. So it seems that they are keeping true to their word of only the final approval. But again, I still need a few more weeks to see what is trickling down into the office to be able to really see a pattern. Okay. February is going to make 5 years. My friend is waiting on his I-485 approval with VAWA. Is that normal or should he be worried? I mean, 5 years is a long time, but, without knowing what's going on with your friend or their friend's history, is there an RFE? Are they verifying the divorce? Did they have a prior divorce in another country that's being called to question? Did they have a previous, USCIS filing where there was a suspicion of marriage fraud? So there might be things that may be causing them to pause on the 485 itself. But, from my understanding of your question, I'm assuming that they already approved the I-360, which is a VAWA application, just not the 485. So I'll need a little bit more to be able to tell, to be able to say, but 5 years would be a long time. How long is it taking when you renew your 2-year green card for a 10-year? It's still taking the same amount of time, anywhere from like 18 to 24 months. Sometimes we submit one and that person just gets really lucky and gets it in less than 12 months. But most people, it'll be 18 to 24 months unless you file for citizenship. So if you file for citizenship, then, sometimes you can then kind of like skip the process and get your decision quicker because they need that decision to approve you for citizenship. Rai on Facebook is saying, good morning, can I start my citizenship when I'm still on my extension? I'm still married and I'm in 3 years now. You can, if you meet some of these requirements. In order to file for citizenship, while you have a 2-year conditional green card and while you submitted your I-751 and while you're still married, you have to show that you've been married for 3 years, you've had your green card for 3 years, your U.S. citizen spouse has been a U.S. citizen for 3 years, and that you guys still live in marital union. So you can't be living in Nevada and that person is living in New York. That makes you ineligible. So you have to make sure that you're still living in marital union together, and that person will have to be there to attend your interview with you. Some of the other requirements that you want to ensure of are, one, any criminal records, making sure that you don't have any crime of moral turpitude. You want to make sure that your taxes are filed correctly. I cannot tell you how many times people come to us because their N400 was denied just because they filed head of household or single when they were married without necessarily paying attention to the correct tax designation. You want to make sure you're filing the correct tax designation. You want to make sure that you file taxes for the last 3 years, if you're doing it based on 3 years, or the last 5 years if you're doing it based on 5 years. You want to make sure, if you are male, that you got your green card between the ages of 18 to 26, that you registered for selective service. If you're not sure if you registered for selective service and you're under 30, you want to check on the selective service website. Just Google selective service. I can't remember the website right now off the top of my head, because this is something that can bar you. What is selective service? Selective service is, if we go to war, they may just call you to go to war, to join the military. That's what it means. There are exemptions after you turn 30, where even if you never filed, you're kind of exempt, as long as you can, prove that you're over a certain age. You also want to make sure that you are paying child support if you don't have your child living with you, even if you don't have a court order for child support. And this applies to male or female. If you don't have a court order, but that child is not living with you, you have to have evidence of how you support any minor children financially. Okay. And then also, of course, your travel history. You want to make sure that for the eligibility time, you have been in the United States for at least half of that time. So if your eligibility is based on 3 years, you want to make sure you've been in the United States for at least 1.5 years. If your eligibility is based on you doing it for 5 years, you want to make sure 2.5. All right. Okay. Let's see what else. How can I retain you personally? For my adjustment of status, call the office. Our number is pinned right there. Everyone that hires a firm is retaining me personally, just so you know. Even if another consulting attorney does your consultation, I sign off on everything that leaves this office, and review everything, unless, a client is willing to just have another attorney review it if I'm super busy. But you will be hiring, me and my team here. We work collaboratively, in every aspect of all applications. Okay. I see that you're getting cases approved without interviews. Are they cases of removal of condition? No, we're still, funny enough, we're still getting some just regular family-based cases approved. I mean, honestly, it just really depends on the case. We're not, of course, getting them as much. Removal cases, those ones you can expect 50-50. If you have airtight, solid evidence, you're definitely going to see, and especially if it's a joint filing, you're going to see those ones approved without interview. We also see some based on parent or child. Now I'm going to have to go back in my archive and see about marriage ones, if we've gotten any recently, but I don't think so. I think all our marriage ones, guys, I don't remember everything that comes and goes in terms of approval, like everybody's situation. I'll have to go check, but fully expect to have an interview if you have a marriage-based case. Okay. Oh yeah, and then the other category of people that we're seeing get approved, of course, this has always been the case, without an interview, would be people who have an approved VAWA. Not everyone. So with VAWA, I say it's 50-50. Some just get approved, and some, they want an interview. Okay. Luscious Jelly Bean, are you seeing a lot of interviews for removal of conditions if persons went to the first interview, marriage-based? Fully expect an interview in this administration if you have a marriage-based case or removal of condition based on marriage. If you don't get one, great, but you should go with that in your mind, that you will be scheduled for an interview so you can prepare. To me, it's better to prepare and be pleasantly surprised if you get approved than not to prepare. And then you are scheduled and you're like, oh my goodness, like I'm not ready for this interview. Okay. Someone is asking, why has VAL timeline increased and which month of approval is coming right now? Serena, I don't work for USCIS. I can't answer that question. You got to ask USCIS. And once you find out the answer, let me know. Let me know, because I would love to know as well. So I can't tell you. As far as cases that we're seeing get approved, um, we're still seeing a lot of the 2022 cases trickling in. I'm going to check and see if we have any 2023s, but for a large part, we're seeing most of the 2022s coming in. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Let's see what else we've got here. Sorry, guys. Like, some of those questions are repetitive. So I'm just saying. Someone's asking again about marriage cases getting waived. We're just not seeing that. And honestly, guys, in my entire time of practicing, it was only just in the last, from 2022 to 2025, that window is the only time that marriage cases ever got waived. No other administration was waiving them. So just, again, fully expect to have a marriage-based interview. Like, at this point, you can see how hostile, the administration is to immigrants, second guessing everything immigrants do. So fully expect to be scheduled for an interview. Fully expect it. Okay? Titus says, are VAD cases being processed and approved? Yes, absolutely. With divorce and you file for a waiver, does it affect the extension letter? No, it doesn't affect the extension letter. You get an extension letter automatically with your receipt notice when you file an I-751 application. What is your advice on visa overstays on a marriage-based green card in this trying times as a person belongs to one of the banned countries? I talked about this, I think, the last time. What is your alternative? So that's the question I always ask you. What would be your alternative? To just not file and then lock yourself in your house and just hope that, they won't have your information to come get you? So, you're better off filing, for a petition if you are married to a U.S. citizen, because that is the quickest way to get out of the anxiety of being locked up, So even if you're from the banned countries, if you are in the United States, it is not banned in the United States. It's an adjudicative hold, which is different from a ban. But I don't want to talk about it again. You can check my live from last week where I explained it. I think it was my Monday live. So that would have been the 5th or the 6th. So you can check that. Okay. I submitted my removal of conditions in 2024. I've gotten the receipt notice for 48 months. I'm yet to get any updates after the receipt. Should I be worried? No, you shouldn't. We filed an I-130 from Nigeria last month. How long do we have to wait for approval, or will it be paused till the ban is uplifted? So the ban is for consular processing, not for USCIS processes. So the way marriage-based case works, if you're consular processing, is that there are two parts. There's a USCIS part, and when the USCIS part happens and the decision is made, if it's approved, it moves over to the National Visa Center, which ultimately documentary qualifies whatever you upload, and then it gets scheduled for consular processing interview. The I-130 portion has not been banned. There's an adjudicative hold, meaning there's a hold on adjudication for the next 90 days. Adjudication means there's a hold on saying yes for the next 90 days, right? Until they decide how they want to review cases from this country. That said, as far as the ban in the consulate, what I think that people should be doing right now is finishing your process to as far as you can go. which means National Visa Center and getting documentary qualified. When you get documentary qualified, you're placed in the queue. If the ban, when the ban, I should say when, because the ban will be lifted, whether it's this administration or the next one, just like it happened in the first Trump administration and it was lifted in the next administration. When it is lifted, you have your place in line. As far as the ban, somebody else asked, is this ban going to be forever or whatever it is? Right now, they've said they'll review it every 6 months. So I can't tell you what they're going to do every 6 months, So in 6 months, we'll know if there are going to be some countries on the list or not on the list. Again, I said last week, they removed one of the countries that were in the original ban. It starts with a T. I just can't remember. It's not like a common country, so I can't really remember the name of it. So anything is possible. So you want to make sure you keep your place in the line for consular processing because it's a line thing. Are green card holders allowed to travel? Yes, green card holders have always been allowed to travel. Now, if you have any criminal records, I wouldn't travel internationally, though. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do they still automatically send SSN to you after the approval of the work permit? For most people right now, no. There's certain cases that they still do, but for most people, you just have to go to the Social Security office and pick it up. That's what they're doing right now. But if you have like a consular case, they will usually, once you enter the country, they will usually send it. Guys, I have to drop off. I can see I have a call coming in. I'll be on live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so definitely tune in. Unless I have an interview, I got to check, but most likely I'll be on tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. If I didn't get your questions answered, schedule a consultation. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.